Hi, I'm Erica from my phone and welcome to another video. Today we're continuing ranking lip syncs from RuPaul's Drag Race, this time with All Stars 9. I think this video will be shorter compared to the season 16 lip sync ranking I did recently, just because I'm less impassioned by this season. And the reasons for that is, one, I haven't watched that season much at all. When I looked at the Lollapalooza lip syncs, that was actually the first time I had seen an entire episode of this season. And while I have seen the majority of these Ru girls live, I have been told that this season is not necessarily worth my time viewing in full. Please correct me if I am wrong on that, but I figured let's get to the meat and the potatoes, which is the lip syncs. We all wait till the end of each episode to get to the lip sync, and I am excited to talk about them here today. I think this video is also going to be shorter because I feel like these lip syncs don't hold up generally to the caliber of many main seasons and all-star seasons of Drag Race, particularly season 16, where I have a lot that I regularly rewatched. Possible one of the reasons why I didn't rewatch them is because I didn't watch them in the context of the episode. However, I think also part of it is just that the lip syncs were just not at the level of competitiveness that I think in the past and in many other seasons it has been. I forgot to explain the tiers while filming, but I basically recycled a lot from the season 16 lip syncs with a little bit of a downgrade because it's not nearly as iconic as season 16. But Supercut is what I'm going to remember the season by. Some good moments, and it works, are pretty self-explanatory. They knew the words is even more self-explanatory. And girl, what was that? Well, girl, what was that? We're going to start chronologically, so beginning with the $1 Million Bill lip sync between Angeria and Georges. I like this one. I think Angeria was commanding and deserved that win. However, I think Georges did very well, and I think those were just two very different interpretations of the song. And I think in later lip syncs, sometimes we reward both of them, but I think for the first iteration, they couldn't just pick both people. So I think Angeria does edge out Georges, but I do think the two different interpretation argument that's used for Love Come Home, for example, I think it could have been used if this was in a later lip sync. I'm going to put it in some good moments. I think this is one of Angeria's lip syncs that I remember more. So I think I am going to put it in this box. Also because my opinions on the lip syncs of this season are not nearly as strong as my opinions from season 16. I will just be keeping them within their category. I'm not going to be ranking them within it because I think that will just be splitting too many hairs. Next, we have Jump in the Line with Gottmik and Plastique. I think it was an odd choice to put this for the ball. I think after Snatch Game would have been a better time to have it, but I think they did the best with what they could. I think Gottmik actually did decent, and Plastique, I think she's the Sonora in this scenario. I think she's the one dancing, and Gottmik is giving the Harry Belafonte of Jump in the Line, please. So I'm going to say it works. I think that's very generous take from some people. It doesn't seem like it's a very common take. I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's rough. But I think that Plastique knew the words, and Gottmik definitely knew the words, and I think it works. I don't think it's one that I'm going to focus on this season, but it was my introduction to Plastique, and it did intrigue me a bit, and I did like the song choice. I love that Gottmik had the horns that were reminiscent of Beetlejuice. I think that was cool because the song was highly featured in Beetlejuice. So, yeah, I think it worked. Next we have Banana, and this is when I come to the conclusion that a lot of the images I have to pick for this are not necessarily the best representations. I mean, this is just Gottmik's runway look here, not referencing anything that Nina put on that stage. Anita was gorgeous, and I love that she was there. It's lovely to have Brazil representation in the US franchise. It'd be nice if we had more Brazilian representation on the Judges Panel and Global All-Stars. I said what I said. I think Gottmik's reveals during it and how Gottmik took off the coat and everything, I think it worked. Nina did Nina's thing. I think she kind of just wanted to have fun on that stage at some point, and she didn't care what lip sync song it was going to be. She was like, I am wearing this as a lip sync outfit. So I really appreciated her just deciding to go for it. Maybe just set a record for most reveals. Does it work as necessarily the best course of action? No, but I don't know. It was a whole closet. And I think there's something inherently iconic in how much of a choice it was. For that, I'm going to put They Knew the Words because they did, but it's definitely not something that I feel works, at least on Nina's end. Gottmik, again, did a decent job, but Gottmik is not a strong enough lip syncer that's really going to propel a performance forward when we have shablamming happening. Though Nina eating a banana at the end was a very nice touch and was kind of fun and relevant. Next we have Black Cat, and that goes straight to Supercut. That was iconic. Both Vanjie and Roxy did amazing. It would have been something, no, it was something that actually they both won. And it was deserved. I think Roxy's outfit was gorgeous. I think Vanjie also embodied the song. They both absolutely crushed it. This is probably one of my favorites from both of them during the season. So kudos to them for making it happen to a legendary song from Janet Jackson. Next, we're going into Super Freaky Girl from Nicki Minaj. Girl, neither of them knew the words. Neither of them. What? If it was about who knew more words, maybe Roxy wins in that case. But I honestly think that Plastique embodied the song. She was more Nicki in it rather than the drunk auntie at your wedding. I think it was a ploy from production to keep Roxy having an undefeated lip sync streak. But this was a flop on both accounts in terms of not knowing the words. I've heard in particular that it might have been that the song was chosen last minute, and so they didn't have as much time to prepare. And Nicki raps can be hard, but still, you should have been able to do the choruses just fine, and definitely that first verse. But yeah, it was not something that I enjoyed. It's iconic for a lot of bad reasons, in my opinion. I think it's a flopped song, and I hope that in the future they do it again and they do it justice. Because I love that song, and I would highly recommend to any aspiring drag queens or established drag queens to lip sync to the song, because I think they could do it justice, especially that first verse. I love that first verse. Next we have Be My Lover. It has to go into Girls What Was That because of Plastique not knowing the words. I have set up these categories in that way, unfortunately, because Angeria did kill it with knowing the rap as well as the regular part. I think Angeria did it great. And Plastique doing the pointing, that's pretty iconic. But Plastique really just didn't participate in like half this lip sync. And that's really disappointing. I do think Angeria was going to win regardless whether Plastique knew the words. But that pointing is iconic in its own right. But again, not necessarily what I'm going for. And I think the stakes of it being non-elimination really shows how some of these lip syncs just are who decided to really go off. Who decided that, you know what, no, I am going to be a star right now and crush it. Because there's no risk of going home. This is just for money that is not even going into their own pockets. So I think the stakes were removed so much that it has impacted some of the lip syncs of the season. Next we have Lover Girl. Nina definitely gave a show. I still think Angeria, of course, won. But it was a good time. It definitely perfectly fits the category of it works. I am really not going to think about it that much. It's not something I probably would ever seek out again. But if I happened to be watching an episode and it ended up being that this was the lip sync at the end of the episode, I wouldn't complain. It's a good time. Angeria always serves. And I think Nina actually did a decent job here. Now we have No One Gets the Prize. Plastique, I think, did learn the words for this one. But Roxy, of course, had some iconic moments of the back off and the nail file. This one is going to go into some good moments because I just listed those. And besides those moments, I don't think about it that much. So it doesn't go into a fully iconic lip sync like Black Cat. Black Cat really is just everyone at full amounts. Now we have Love Come Home. This works for me. Yeah, I just love the outfit of Chanel. I'm really glad that she wore this during my time seeing her live. Yeah, it's a good time. I think Georges does cut up on the dance floor. I think it was double badge worthy. I would definitely think Black Cat was much more, but I still think it was fairly even. And in a charitable season, we can be charitable. I think, yeah, it was a good time. I like the song-ish. It's definitely something that is very repetitive for a lip sync in terms of the lyrics, especially when you were challenging them with a Nicki song. You gave them Love Come Home. You gotta know only 3 words for that. generally speaking. So yeah, we definitely have had a range in the amount of skill and knowledge required to know the words of a lip sync. But I think this one was a nice time. I enjoyed watching it. And like the others in the category, I'm probably not going to click on it necessarily, but if it shows up, I'm not going to be mad. It's a good showing of old school versus new school, and it is honestly just vibes. Now, before we get to the finale lip sync, we're going to get into the lip syncs from the Lollapalooza. Starting with My Lovin'. I love this song. I distinctly remember hearing it, I think for the first time on Vine, for the Never Gonna Get It, Never Gonna Get It breakdown. I do enjoy that. I think Angeria did well. I don't think this was her strongest moment, but it definitely is. Yeah, would I put it in the, I don't know, the name of the words in It Works is a very similar category for me. I'm actually going to leave it at It Works for now. I'm going to see how the rest of the Lollapalooza lip syncs play out before I decide if I'm going to bump it down or not. Next we have When I Grow Up. I think this one, I think I'm going to put it in Supercut. I love Vanjie in this. And I don't always just say Vanjie lip syncs are the best, but I think in this scenario, I think she just went full Vanjie, and I think full Vanjie is very similar to the Pussycat Dolls aesthetic. And I think Plastique, this might be her best showing in all of the season. So I think it was just two people who were killing it, looking hot AF, crushing this song that I've loved since I was a child. So maybe I'm a little biased, but I think this was a good time. And it was two queens showing it out. Obviously, Vanjie won. It was a very obvious time, but Plastique, this is the best fight that she's probably put up the whole season. And Vanjie really just embodied it. Next we had You Spin Me Around by Dead or Alive. That's an iconic song. I do enjoy it. I do agree that Chanel won, but I think it was very close. I think Nina did decent. I do think it was interesting that Gottmik said that they would wear Nina's outfit. I think that's interesting coming from Gottmik, who does not like wearing a lot of color and is very chic. And his outfit here is very not chic in terms of that. It's not elegant. I would wear this, but honestly, a lot of Nina's drag low-key speaks to me. I feel it. I feel like I will kind of look like that if I end up doing drag. I think the fun colors and just making it bright and shiny, I think is my vibe a bit. Time will only tell if I ever figure that out. But I think it was actually a fairly close battle. I think Chanel did pull it out. I do think that if I had worked at it, I think I would do well in a lip sync like this. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the song was on Just Dance and it had a pretty campy type routine. So I feel like I could give energy. I don't think they moved a lot in this. And I think the song allows you to move a ton because it's literally You Spin Me Right Round. I think I'm going to put it on It Works. It would probably be on the high end of it, but it didn't really wow me or really entertain me too much for a lip sync of a song that I do know quite well. That changes when we get to Holding Out for a Hero. I love this song. I think I would love any version of this song. I think it was done in season 9 as well, and I do need to watch that one again because I love that song just so much. It's just so good. It's so dramatic, and I wish I could perform it in that way. I can't. I think Roxy and Georges both did very well here. I think Roxy did clearly win, but I think it was a very good battle between these two lip sync assassins, and I think if you were doing a Best of All Stars season 9 compilation, it definitely belongs in that supercut. I love Nina yelling "Mop It" when Roxy's doing her hair across the ground, and I do love the hairography of it. It is really everything. Next we have I'm Every Woman. I love this song. It goes into It Works because it is fine, but when you have seen season 6, you know Trinity K. Bonet, that is her song. I don't know why they picked a song that is so iconic and was so iconically done in the franchise. Why would you ever think you could replicate such success? Neither of these two stand a candle to TKB, and neither of these two even did better than April Carry On. Honestly, that original lip sync was just that good. I think Chanel and Vanjie are both very talented drag queens. I don't think that they crashed the song. I think Chanel embodied the song better, making me feel more like she is every woman. I feel like Vanjie was not giving that to me. I think Trinity K. Bonet, though, is every woman. I still believe that to this day. So I think this one, it was fine. It was more of, a means to an end to get to the final lip sync. It wasn't the lip sync that I was caring that deeply about. Next we have Groove is in the Heart. I also really love this song. I do think they picked a lot of good songs, but they were just very classic. And I think part of the problem of it being classic is that some queens that are younger or newer might not do it justice. This is not the case here, but it was just something I noticed across the board that, if you're doing some of these classic songs, not everyone has done them because they might be a little too vintage for some of these new people. But thank goodness it's an all-star season, so at least it's everyone's second time coming. So they should know that they might have to do a song that was from before they were born. Groove is in the Heart. I don't know if I want to put it in It Works. This is becoming a very thick category. I'll say both did well, but it's not something I'm really going to rewatch. I think I am going to put it here, and then if that's the case, I'm going to move this one between Angeria and Gottmik down. And if I'm doing that, I might actually put I'm Every Woman down there. I think Trinity K. Bonet just really ate them up. It feels a bit more balanced, so I think we can move on from there. Now we get into Break Free. I teeter between Supercut and Some Good Moments. I'm going to put in Supercut because I think Roxy crushes it. I think Chanel did a good job, but you already have Roxy there, and I think Roxy really employed the movement that the song required. You need to feel like you're breaking free during it, and I think Chanel was a little too stabilized and too controlled in place. You need to break out of that for this song to hit hard in lip sync. I do think it is interesting that most of the songs for the Lollapalooza were older songs. I do think that the playlist did play to some people's strengths better than others. Now we go into the finale lip sync. I don't like these 3-way, 4-way lip syncs where it's each queen separate. It looks like a compilation, a montage. It doesn't give me lip sync. It doesn't let me connect with any of them because I can't see them on the stage. I can't even, when they're zooming in on a queen, I can't see what another queen is doing. So they're just giving everyone's best moments and see who is doing that. It can be very edited to make someone look better than worse. So I'm going to say It Works as in was there. They all definitely knew the words. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed all of them, but I would have preferred them on the stage together all at once so I could see it. And they couldn't edit it the way that they wanted to edit to make certain people look better or others. I don't know if that was the case. I do think Angeria is a great winner. And when I got to see her live, she definitely was someone who I connected with and was the most starstruck by. So I think her win is justified. I do think the editing on the season is weird because of what everyone else on the line has told me, not because I watched the season. But I think this form of making a lip sync happen is not my preferred method. And I would prefer them do something where it's on the stage together at the same time. They've done it for both All-Stars and for all regular seasons. So I think it would be something I would prefer in the future. Even though the stakes are really actually not that high, even though it's lip sync for the crown, it's really a formality, as we can see with a lot of these All-Star seasons, that the lip sync for the crown does not really matter at all. So I think it works to serve the purpose. It works as a little montage, but it doesn't really do much for me beyond that. And here's the list. You can see that generally speaking, when Roxy knows the words, she is close to the top. Angeria normally does well. Vanjie does well. Georges does well. Ina, Gottmik, unfortunately, Plastique tend to be on the lower end. But, lip syncing is not everyone's perfect strength. And, editing will do it. Mental health on the show. All of that. So don't bully any queens for doing poorly. Please praise the queens who are doing well, because why not? Just give them some love and support them. I do think that this season was not heavy hitting in the lip sync department as much as season 16 was, and many other seasons I've seen. I'm still a baby when it comes to the Drag Race community, so I'm still figuring out seasons in terms of lip sync. But of the seasons in which I've seen all the lip syncs for, I would say that this one is probably on the lower end. And I think that is just because of, again, the stakes. There's not a single lip sync for your life here. They are all lip syncs for completing a challenge, win, or to get money for your charity or for the crown, but again, a formality. So it's not something that necessarily requires you to be at your top A game, pulling out stunts, potentially endangering yourself, which I can respect not endangering yourself, but I feel like often they could have gone a little harder or felt a little more prepared. But please let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below, as well as what other seasons of Drag Race I should be seeing. I've seen 6, 9, 12, 16, and I'm currently watching Global All-Stars and having a tough time with it. I'd also like to know your thoughts on these lip syncs, if you agree with my choices. If you don't, I get it. We all have our own personal tastes and preferences. Let's be respectful in the comments though. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on this. If you like this video, please like it, comment down below what you'd like me to do next on my channel. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already and you'd like to be. And thanks for watching. This was TurtleStormer. Catch you later.
Get out of the dark.